Hi, this is Tim. In this video, we're going to integrate our Yamaha linear actuator with our Allen Bradley Compact Logics PLC. Just to recap, in our last video, we wired all of our push buttons and lights to the Compact Logics PLC, and we also wired our analog sensor that's on the front of this to the PLC. And I told you that there was no actual wiring interface necessary to connect the Compact Logics PLC to the TS-SH servo motor. And I told you there was no wiring interface necessary to integrate the Compact Logics PLC to the Yamaha servo drive. So in this video, we're going to download the add-on instruction for Studio 5000 from Yamaha's website. Yamaha has made this incredibly easy to integrate with Rockwell Automation Studio 5000. In fact, I said in the last video, I had a choice to do a kinetic setup on this, but I actually found this setup to be a little bit easier. And we're going to want to go to the My YRG tab. And in fact, let me open this up in an incognito tab just so you see. You are going to need to register for this, and registration is free. So if I open that in incognito tab, and I go to My YRG, then you see I either need to join or log in. Go ahead and hit the join button, and they're going to ask for some basic information, and you can create a login. And after that, you are going to have access to this really cool dashboard, which includes software. We're going to click it. And here's where in a previous video we have downloaded the RCX Studio. Here's the TS Manager that we are going to use in a future video. But if we hit the Control F and just type AOI, then down here you're going to see several AOIs. And this top one right here, Allen Bradley YRG Yamaha single AOI for TS series controllers. We're going to click it and download it. And once it's downloaded, go ahead and extract it. Let's have a look inside of it and find the Yamaha TS Allen Bradley single AOI version 3.3 PDF. It's the only PDF in here. And this is going to take you step by step through how to do this. So first, we do need to set up our Ethernet address. And I have already done that, but let me go through the steps here. Is the default IP address is 192.168.0.1. Now on our trainer, we have already changed it for you to 192.168.1.13, which will integrate well with our default IP on our trainers. And right here, this is what it comes up as, and mainly we're going to look at this network interface. And right here, we have network configuration, and under here, you could change it to whatever you need. So if yours was new out of the box, you would just, instead of putting that 113, you would put 0.1 in. But we've already got all this set up for you, and you are ready to write some program. So let's go back up to the table of contents, and let's look at section 4, importing with a new program or existing program. We already created our program in the last video. In this video, we're going to start right here, creating a new Ethernet connection. And it says find the Ethernet module in your IO tree, right-click New Module, and then we're going to be looking for this generic Ethernet module. So I am going to go offline, and then right here is my Ethernet. I'm going to right-click it, New Module. And I always say with all the modules out there, the filter is your friend. So we're just going to type generic. And right there it is. We want this generic Ethernet module. And I'm going to call this our linear actuator. And this is one time to make sure that you get all the details right, especially this COM format, because you can't change it later. So we're going to go back over. And the next thing it says, see, it even kind of says it really loud right there. The data type is int. And then our input is going to be 100. Our output is going to be 150. Our configuration is going to be 1. And we have a size of 6, 6, and 0. So let's try to make sure we get these right. So our data type is going to be an int. This is going to be 150. That'll be 6. This will be 106, and this will be 1 and 0. As I said, this is one time to double check these numbers. Oh, and we also need to put an IP address in. So that on our trainer is going to be 192.168.1.13. So let's make sure that that looks pretty much the same as what we have here. And yes, that does match up nicely. And then it says the default RPI of 10 will be fine. And then we're going to hit the OK button. Close. And then we should have some new tags in here. And right here they are: linear actuator I, linear actuator O, and linear actuator C. And if we open these up, then we are going to have some data in here. And you notice there are no descriptions. And this is something I think Yamaha has just done such a great job at. So if we go down to our next step here, then it says to open the supplied CSV file, which is the Yamaha TS Series Allen Bradley EIP tag import. And then we're going to be looking to change the name. Their default is going to be TSS. And in my file, I made it linear underscore actuator. So we're going to go back to the download. And right here is that CSV file. And on this image, I don't even have a spreadsheet software, but that's okay. We're going to right click it. And we're going to open, and it's going to open a notepad. And we see there's a lot of these that say TSS down through here. I want to change that to linear underscore actuator. So I'm going to go to edit and then replace. And I am going to find what will be TSS. And I'm going to replace with linear actuator. And we'll replace all. And that's it. So I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'm just going to call this Yamaha TS-SH tags to import. And then we'll close that out, and let's go back to Studio 5000 and go to Tools, Import, Tags and Logic Comments. And now I want to navigate to that file that I just created. Now this is the default one. It's the one that had the TSS in it. I want the one that I just named tags to import. And I'll bring it in and check that out. Right away we have descriptions for all of our inputs. So I can open up our status and I can see the actual what each one of these means. And they do some really cool stuff with this, as we'll learn when we bring the AOI in. So let's go back to their guide. And so we've done the import there. And now we're ready to import the add-on instruction. And this has been consolidated from when they did this. This was in an older version. Now this is going to be under assets. So if we open up assets here, then we have add-on instructions. And I'm going to right click it, import add-on instruction. And right there, it's the only one that'll come up in that directory is that L5X file. So I'm just going to select it and open. And all the defaults should be fine on this. So I'm just going to click OK. And that brings it in and we're ready to write some program now. So now let's go to our main program and open up the main routine. And if we go to our add-on tab, which is right beside of the favorites, then you're now going to see the Yamaha AOI. So we're going to bring it down. And let me close this error out. That way we can get a little more. And so, yeah, this is what we're going to need to fill in. And let's just jump over to their guide and make sure. I think pretty much we just need to make a tag for each one of these. See, we've already done that. All right, we brought it in. And now, yep, we're going to mainly just start, okay. And yeah, now we're going to mainly start making tags for most of these. Now, some of them we already have, like the map robot inputs and map robot outputs, but I believe everything else, yeah, pretty much we're gonna need to create tags for everything else. First, we're gonna have our AOI. I'm just going to call this our linear AOI. And we'll right click, new. And see, it's going to default to the YAMTS AOI. All right, and see that even filled in some of them for us. That's why I like to go ahead and create that one. And all right, then we have config. And I'm just going to call this our linear config. And we'll create that. And again, it's going to default to all the right data types for you. Now this one we don't need to create. We need to navigate and find it. So I called this the linear actuator. So it's going to be the linear actuator input data. And this next one is going to be the linear actuator output data. All right, and we have a serial number. And so for the rest of these, if they have question marks and they're in the white blocks, we're really just going to name them that. So I'm going to call this our serial number. I'm going to call this our EN phasor. I'll call this our mode select. Call this our safety interlock servo on origin mode auto jog forward jog reverse manual step reset move okay move point move ABS POS move ABS SPD, and finally our fault message. All right, so now all I did was type words here. So we've got to create something for every one of these. In fact, you notice if I mouse over, it says undefined. So we got to define all these. And again, they're going to define to the right data type. So I'm going to put a new serial number. It says string. We have the EN phasor, and it's going to be a Boolean. We have a mode select. It's going to be an integer. We have the safety interlock. It's going to be a Boolean. We have the servo on. It's going to be a Boolean. We have the origin tag. It's going to be a Boolean. We have the mode auto. Also, you notice I'm doing these really fast. If you highlight them, in fact, let me show that again. If you highlight them, you can't see my keyboard, but all I'm doing is hitting Control W. That creates a new, and that's going to be a Boolean. And see, I just hit Control W. And all I really got to do is hit enter here because everything's right. Jog forward, Boolean. Then I go to jog reverse, manual step, reset, move OK, move point, move absolute, move absolute speed. Oops, you know something, I don't like that. You notice what I did wrong there? I put a dash here, and even when I created that one, did you see? It says move absolute, move underscore ABS dash speed. Notice it only grabbed move ABS. And that's because you can't have dashes in tag names. So I need to fix that. That has to be an underscore. And now I'll create that. And finally, I'll create the fault message. And if I did everything right, our red X should go away, and it did, so we're good to go. And as unbelievable as that sounds, we are close enough that I'm going to go ahead and download this program. So I'm going to go to Communications, Who Active, and if you need any help downloading your program, configuring your drivers, or anything like that, I went through, passed through, and even the AOIs, we have lessons on all that. So just look down in the description. Okay, and we are back in run mode, and all right, I have an issue already, IO not responding, and so we're going to get a learning opportunity to figure out what I did wrong. If we look down here, it does have a yellow warning by the linear actuator, so we're going to right-click it and go to Properties, and we are going to go to the Connection tab, and it says Connection Request Error, Invalid Output Application Path, which means did I put something wrong there? And sure enough, I did. And y'all probably even caught it in the video. I even said to check it, it's supposed to be input 100, output 150, and configuration 1. I got them backwards. I got input 150, output 100. So we're going to have to go back offline to fix that. You can't do this while you're online. So we're going to go to Communications, go offline. And I'm going to change this to 100. And I'm going to change this to 150. And we'll hit apply to that. And we're going to download again. So there you go. Now you know if you have an I/O flashing light, you need to go check those because either you set the wrong IP address or you got those input, output, and configuration assemblies wrong. I'm going to download that again. And you can even watch it as we download. All of a sudden this I/O responding is going to go away this time. And there you go. See, now it's saying I/O okay. And yeah, we are good to go now. So now let's look at this AOI that we have sent. And we can see we've got something going on the right side. But let's go back to our manual and see what it says to do next, because we do have a few more setup things to do. Like we have a serial number. So you're going to be given a serial number by Yamaha, and you have to use the correct serial number for yours. So I am going to monitor the serial number, and I'm going to hit the little box here. And I'm going to enter my serial number. Okay, and then we have an EN phaser. And the EN phaser says, okay, are we using a phaser robot or a normal robot? And we are using a normal one. So the value of 0 will be fine. Mode select is going to be whether we are moving points or moving absolute positions. And I'm going to use positions on this. That way I can specify the position in our PLC program. So I'm going to change it to a 1. And then next we see it's an actual position and cycle time. All right, now we have a safety interlock, and it will have to be a 1 to be enabled. Now what I'm going to do there is, just so we can play with these, because we're going to need to add some logic eventually, is I'm going to add it as a rung. So I'm going to just bring a rung down. And then we're going to go to our favorites tab, go look for a 1, and we're going to bring that safety interlock up. And then we're going to output energize, and I'm actually going to drag that same safety interlock over here. That way, really, this says go look for a 0. If it has a 0, go write a 0. Go look for a 1. If it has a 1, go write a 1. So it's really just going to give me a spot right now, one for a place marker, but also where I can look up here really quick and play with these. Okay, next we have a servo on, and I'm going to guess it's the same way. Yep, servo on. So this is how we'll turn our servo on and off. And origin. Okay, origin I believe is what I would traditionally call home. Yes, so that is going to be a homing interface. So I'm just going to copy this, and we'll paste it a couple times. And I'm going to bring the servo on up here. And then I'm going to bring the origin up here. And then I believe we're probably going to need that auto mode too. Okay, yeah, because manual mode's going to let us jog, I'm guessing, and auto mode is going to, it's going to make it run to a position. So we're going to need that one. So I'm just going to copy this again. And we'll drag that auto mode up here. And then, yeah, our jog forward and jog reverse. I'm going to copy and paste this a couple more times. And really, this, and this is really how I usually experiment with these and figure out how these work. So we're just dragging enough stuff up here just so we can play with all the features here. And then we have a manual step. Okay, yeah, to allow movement to pre-programmed positions. And yeah, I think I want to play that with it as a 0. So I think I'm going to leave that as is. Next, we have, well, we have a reset. We'll definitely need that. And we have a move OK in right there. 0, do nothing. 1, allow motion. We're definitely going to need that. All right, we're not working with any points. And, okay, we can enter those for now right in there. So let's add a couple more of these. And we are going to want this reset. Whoops. There, reset, and then we are going to want this move OK. I believe this is going to give us enough to get this going, and probably a little bit more than we really need. So we have our safety interlock, servo on, origin, which I believe is home. In fact, that I may rename that one. Mode auto, jog forward, jog reverse, reset, move OK. Let's put that in there. And then let's try jogging first, because that's probably the safer thing. Let's see, jog forward. Jog is allowed. The following signals must be in this condition. And that's what I love about this manual is, all right, it tells me right here, safety interlock needs to be a 1, servo on must be a 1, and auto mode must be a 0. I'm going to make my safety interlock be a 1, and to do that, I'm just going to right click, and I can either toggle or hit Control T, and now it's a 1, and it said the servo on must be a 1. Oh, and I doubt you could hear that, but the moment I did that, I did hear the servo enable. All right, and now I'm going to highlight the jog forward, and I'm going to use the Control T so that I can jog it really quickly, hopefully, if I did everything right. Okay, and so there we have jog forward, and now let's try the jog reverse. Okay, so we have jog forward and we have jog reverse. Can we actually make this go to a position? So the position was down here in the AOI, and we had a speed and we had a position. And so let's just go down and find our speed, I guess, or position, whichever one. Oh, well, there you go. Speed and position are together. So they have already thought that we would be looking for those together. All right, valid position commands are 0 millimeters to the actuator soft limit. And what that means is from 0, which is over here, to whatever the stroke of your actuator is. And in this case, this is a 300 millimeter actuator. So our mode selection must be 1. Our safety interlock must be 1, servo on must be 1, auto mode must be 1. I guess I could be looking at these while we're going through this. So let's go back up here. So our mode selection must be 1, which I didn't bring that up because I think I was going to leave that on 1. Our safety interlock must be a 1, which it is. Servo on must be a 1. Okay, auto mode must be a 1. So we are going to need this one to be on. And then we need move OK. So that needs to be a 1. And my servo kicked out when I did that. All right, so well, now we get to learn about one of the cool functions of this is we have this fault message and it says input AOI parameter out of range. And I'm guessing that's because I have a speed of 0 here. And I really don't know what this is. Let's see. I'm just going to put 10 in for now, just see if we can get that error to go away. So I guess in this case, do I just hit the reset button? Oh, yep. I heard the servo kick back on. And yep, it looked good now. And let's see. I guess we need to put a position in now. Let's try 10. Enter. Okay. And it moved. Okay, it moved. But we're not at the home position. I wonder if at origin, I bet I needed to do the origin. So let's go back to our manual and let's look at the origin here. Origin, pulses tag will start the servo slide, normally stays at 0. Origin is allowed in manual or auto, programmer responsible for motion. Execute in auto mode. Before origin allowed, the following signals must be in the right condition. Okay, and we look good on those. So I should be able to go up here to the origin and toggle that bit. Okay. Looks like it's right about the end of the actuator. See, I should be able to untoggle the origin, and I guess we'll put it back into auto. Whoop! All right, we got a little movement out of it. Why did we get movement out of it there? Oh, because, yeah, that's right. Earlier, I had moved the absolute position to 10. So, well, why not go ahead and test the full limits of it? Is if we put that on 300. Okay, it did stop in the right place. And if we look at our position, then yeah, we're right at 300. So there you go. I mean, we've been working on this for what? Maybe 30, 45 minutes. And we figured out how to integrate this Yamaha servo motor with a CompactLogix PLC. And that's why I chose this one, is really, it was incredibly easy. So in the future videos, we're going to refine this a little more. We have a jog forward, we have a jog reverse, obviously we have an auto mode. So we're going to start tying these to some functionality. That way that we can use the buttons on the front of our PLC. So I hope this video has been helpful. I'll put a link to our motion control trainer down in the description. Till next time. Hi, this is Tim.
And this is Amber with TW Controls. Hey, thanks for finding our channel.
Here's a playlist with some similar videos.
And YouTube thinks you'll like these.
When you're ready for some intense PLC training, check out our PLC lab.
And if our videos have helped you out and you're not using our products, please consider supporting us on Patreon.
Till next time.
See ya!